being turned into another payday or two. I don't see him really going any further. I think the guy who knocked out Huck was Glowacki.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm saying that right, but I hadn't heard his name in a while. But that was a terrific fight. I see Fonfara taking him out probably around the 9th round. Fonfara's not that kind of Adonis Stevenson Kovalev puncher. I think that he'll grind him down into a dub, for a later stoppage. Cleverly has had some stamina problems over the years. He can get into brawls, even though he really shouldn't be that kind of fighter. I think these are all bad things to bring to the table against Fonfara.
Agreed. One note that you mentioned, Butterbiev, that's one of my favorite guys right now that's marching up the ranks, marching through the ranks. I mean, I think he's a, quite an interesting package. I don't know if him and Kovalev have a showdown at some point or Stevenson, but he's one of those guys, just 9 career fights, 9 knockouts, and, quickly becoming a guy that I don't see guys wanting to face. But I saw one common opponent between Beterbiev and Fonfara, Gabriel Campillo, and I see...
Yeah, Campillo's a good boxer, at least was a good boxer. I think he's past his prime now.
Have you seen his last 3 fights? I mean, he has been savagely knocked out by Beterbiev. And then a couple of weeks ago, I can't think of the young fighter's name that took him out, but it was a first or second round knockout. And I mean, I think it was one where the referee just instantly just waved the fight off and called a doctor into the ring. But I'm getting concerned about Campillo because he just doesn't seem to be able to defend himself and make a fighter respect him for any length of time in the ring. So I'm hoping the couple of shots that I've seen him take, I would be in favor for him not being allowed to fight anymore.
Well, that's another way when we talked about earlier, you can increase safety. It's not letting these guys get in the ring anymore and just get destroyed in fights they're going to basically get destroyed in. He was Campillo was an excellent boxer. He was very slick. He was never a big power guy, and now he's not slick anymore. So what does he? How he's just not. He's slowed down. He's older. He's taking punches. It happens to everybody. So what is he really bringing to the table to try to beat a guy like Beterbiev? Nothing.
Yeah.
He's there to be a name on his resume.
Right. The guy that actually walked through him was in the first round, and it was Marcus Brown. I believe he fights out of New York. No, yeah, I think he fights out of New York. You had a chance to check him out before?
Who's that?
Have you had a chance to check out Marcus Brown before?
Name sounds familiar. I'm trying to place him. Was he on TV recently?
He's the one that knocked out Campillo in the first round within the last 3 weeks, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I believe I saw it. I think I saw that.
But yeah, it was a first round knockout, and it was just sort of similar to the Vivian Harris fight, where this younger fighter just realizes that this guy in front of him has very little to offer, and they just walk through the guy. Yeah, that was I believe that was on the Marcus Brown fight. There was a whole weekend of these mismatches. Yeah,
a month ago.
Yeah, that was that.
I do remember now.
Yeah, that was that terrible weekend where a lot of guys got hurt pretty badly, in my opinion. But moving on, man, this is kind of the final talking point of the show, which is this weekend's big fight at Madison Square Gardens. Gennady Golovkin returns to the ring against David Lemieux. I want to believe there's some suspense here, but man, Lemieux is up against it, and really all I can really credit him for and commend him for is being one of the few guys that's actually willing to step into the ring and try to face Triple G. It seems like a lot of guys are standing on the sidelines, and Lemieux's going to have his shot come Saturday.
Yeah, credit to him. This is a fight a lot of people don't want to take. It's a dangerous time in Lemieux's career for him to take it. He's been rebuilding after a couple of bad losses 3-4 years ago. And, Triple G wouldn't be a bad loss for him. You just go, well, we expected him to lose, so it's not like it's really going to kill his career. In the same way, like when Canelo lost to Floyd, nobody thought, oh well, Canelo isn't really any good. He just lost to Floyd, like everybody else does. But so what does Lemieux bring to the table to try to win this fight? He's got power. He's got a lot of power. Great puncher. Good hooks. He can throws a hook nice. That's what he's gonna have to try to do. He's also had some stamina problems over the years. Recently, it hasn't looked too bad. I think he's going to try to come out and bust him early. I think that if he's going to win this thing, if he's going to have any chance, and I don't think it's a good chance, he's going to have to catch him in the first few rounds and catch him good and take him out. I think you start to see this fight go 5, 6, 7, 9 rounds. I don't think when he wins that fight, I don't think he can hold up. I don't think he has the durability.
Yeah, I see it maybe getting to the 5th or 6th, and I just feel like I think the formula that you just laid out probably leads into Triple G's hands, and or in Triple G's favor, and like you said, it could be a 4 or 5 round fight. I just Triple G's going for what, 21, 22 consecutive knockouts or something.
Yeah, the only real chance I see Lemieux having is he's got to get Triple G's respect early, so he's not getting just hunted down and teed off on. He's got to get him moving backwards, so he can't punch as well moving backwards. I don't know that he can do it. I think that's what he has to do. I was chatting with someone on Twitter earlier today, and I wish I could give him a shout out. I thought they had an interesting perspective. They said that what Lemieux needs to do is get in there, throw the 1-2, tie him up, kind of the Bernard Hopkins school of boxing. I think it's easier said than done, but it was an interesting idea. Sounds like it'd be terrible to watch. I don't think he'll go that route. I think it's going to be a fire fight. They're going to go down swinging whoever goes down. I think it'll be Lemieux. I'm saying in the 7th round, Triple G gets the knockouts. Round 7. That's my pick anyway.
Yeah, I think totally. I mean, everything that you're saying, I have to agree with. Like you said, I think if everything that Lemieux has to do, I think it kind of leads into playing into Triple G's hands. And I feel like Lemieux would have to get in close and do some damage and break up, Triple G's rhythm. But I don't think being in close quarters is really what Lemieux needs to do for the way that he likes to punch and sit down on his punches. So, yeah, I think he just kind of has to. I think he just kind of has to bide his time a little bit, get a feel for what's going on, and then just kind of go out to blaze of glory somewhere, in between 4, 5, 6, and like you said, 7, and just it'll probably boil down to a matter of who can take whose best shot and land their own.
Yeah, I think if Lemieux gives himself the best chance to win, this fight's over in 3 rounds either way. Like you just said, going out in the blaze of glory, and he's just gotta go for it. I don't think the longer he hangs around, the bigger chance he's going to catch something big. I think he's just got to come out swinging and hope for the best. He's not. It's not like he's some great technician. Like he's gonna just outbox him for 12 rounds. Usually, for the most part, everybody loses at some point in their career. And when Triple G does, if he does, if you hang around long enough, you will. It's just going to be somebody who outboxes him. That the classic high-powered guy, with huge power. That's how they usually lose. They don't land it. They're expecting to land it, and it just never comes. But that's not who Lemieux is.
Right. Yeah, I'll totally agree with you. I think I'm gonna take Triple G in maybe late in the 5th round, maybe. But I would hope that it goes 6 or 7 rounds, just so it's a longer fight with more action. But the one notable thing was that Triple G put away Marco Antonio Rubio in like 2 rounds, and Lemieux had a 7th round TKO loss to him, so that just doesn't bode well for me. But Lemieux's, in a different stage of his career and going at the game differently, and he seems to be highly motivated. So, I'm wishing the guy well. Maybe he can expose something that we don't know, maybe something with Triple G's chin. And before we do wrap this up, what's your thoughts on some of these names out here? I mean, I keep looking for some guys to step up to the challenge of Golovkin, and I'm looking at maybe once we see what happens with Jacobs and Quillen, maybe, and I'm thinking that Quillen might be the man in that fight, but I'm thinking maybe someone like Quillen would challenge Triple G. I mean, I know that would mean that Triple G would have to go up in weight, but I'm looking at the Charlo brothers, and I know there's some weight differences there. I was looking at Demetrius Andrade. I thought his length might be interesting, and his his being a slicker boxer and whatnot. And then even the Durrells, I don't know how low they can get at this point, and I know both of them, are coming off different losses. Any guys that you hope? I mean, I'm sitting here at this point just hoping that some of these guys, I know Stevens jumped in there and thought that he could do something with Triple G and nothing happened. But I'm just, like I said, when are some of these Americans going to, look at Triple G and say, I'm going to show the world that this guy really isn't what everybody thinks he is? Or is he just who he says he is?
Yeah, I know. There's nobody out there I'm picking to beat him right now. I think a lot of those are interesting fights. I think a lot of those you won't see happen because their promoters aren't going to want to hurt those guys' marketability by getting them knocked out in 5-6 rounds or, whatever it might be. You just mentioned Curtis Stevens. I think that fight shows the challenge that Lemieux has. Stevens is a huge puncher. He wasn't able to dent him. He got ground down. That's what I see happening to Lemieux. I think Stevens is probably more durable than Lemieux, and he still got ground down,
Right. Yeah, another great fight, another great win, a very destructive win, I thought, was Lemieux showing against Rosado. But like I said, we saw what Triple G did with King Gabe Rosado. So I don't know. Like I said, I want to believe there's some suspense here, but Saturday night, I think at some point in the middle of that fight is going to be pretty academic, and we'll see what happens to Oscar De La Hoya's guy.
Yeah. Well, when you say are there any guys? Yeah, that the Triple G Ward fight, that would be very interesting. But that's a guy who could beat him. Oh yeah.
I think Ward.
If that were to happen.
Yeah, I think Ward is a truly exceptional. His performance during that super middleweight tournament and the different types of fighters that he took on and beat. Really, I don't think I've seen a elite guy go through a gauntlet of fighters like that in recent years. So I think. And that would be interesting because, and that was some names I thought of earlier. I was glad that you mentioned that. I was thinking of guys earlier who were devastating punchers, one punch power guys, that people were afraid of or who weren't eager to face. And, Andre Ward was that guy that went in there with Alan Green, who had a short run as being, a highly touted power puncher. He faced Arthur Abraham, who was a heavy-handed guy. So, like I said, I'm just looking at this collection of guys that are out here, from 160 to 168, maybe even into the 175, depending on where Golovkin chooses to go. But I just think with Floyd stepping away, I don't see him going low, and I'm not sure that regardless of what happens with Cotto and Canelo, I don't think I could see Canelo maybe making that fight, but I don't think I really see Roach and Cotto making that fight for some reason.
I think it's a bad fight for him to take. I could see Canelo doing it. He seems